Welcome to episode 14 of Rock Talk with the Silver Fox. Today, I'm going to be talking to Adam from Earth to Clark. They play a different type. Yeah, they play a different type of music than some of the harder stuff I've had on before, but it's still rock. And quite frankly, well, first of all, welcome, Adam. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thanks for having me, man. Happy to be here.
I'm excited to have you here. I really believe, people ask me a lot of times, hey, Gary, give me something different to listen to, something I haven't heard, something I would like. And
yeah,
they're expecting me to throw out, some heavy band. I tell them point blank, probably the best album out there that hasn't went national. And even with those not national, even with the big ones, people need to listen to The Giving Tree.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah.
That, honestly, for me, is one of the best albums ever. And I don't care.
That's a big statement. So
I don't care what genre. I don't care what level. I believe I texted you. I bought the album, the CD. I listened to it in its entirety. And I think I texted you that night saying, holy shit, man, you have a lot for the world to see and hear.
Yep. I remember talking to you about it. And you were telling me like, man, this might be like one of my favorite albums of all time ever. And I was like, that's mind blowing. Like, hear somebody say that, like, cause that's a big statement, and that means a lot, and I know you're a music enthusiast. So I know that your word is trustful, and it's the truth. So I really appreciate that, man. Like, we put a lot of work into everything that we put out, and we have a lot to say, and like to bend genres, and so
bending
I
genres.
appreciate that, man.
Bending genres. There's a new term. And it's accurate. It's very accurate. And one of your songs is that what is it? A little reggae mixed with some hip hop or something like that.
Yep. So that's kind of been like our slogan to like, a lot of people ask like, what do you play? Or if people ask somebody else about us, like, well, what kind of music do they play? It's hard to like put us into a category, So we just came up with a phrase to kind of make it easier for people to understand like what we're all about. And we just call it funktastic, partydelic rock reggae with a little bit of hip hop. And that pretty much covers all the bases in there. There's a little bit of blues and some soft rock, but like it covers pretty much everything.
Some heavier rock.
And and then we get heavy sometimes, and some of the jams and the breakdowns, and so it's all over the place, and we have multiple different influences from every member, that bring their kind of element to the mix. And I'm a straight hip hop head, so like I love hip hop, and that's kind of what I bring to the table, and So
yeah, I understand that because I know you on a personal level. Also, you're pretty good friends with my daughter and her fiance. You guys are kind of tight. So
yeah, pretty tight, I'd say.
Yeah, it's pretty tight. I understand the hip hop side of it, and I've heard your Astronaut Adam stuff. I'm not a huge rap fan. I'm just not.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't say I hate it because there's definitely stuff I like, and I will definitely listen to it. So I'm not one of these guys, oh, it's rap. Fuck that. I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not that guy.
Right.
Your flow is so smooth and fast, it's ridiculous. And I've actually have a few black friends, and they're like, man, check this dude out, blah, 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 blah. And then I'll show a picture of you and Darius doing your uh anti-gravity thing. And they're like, he's white. And I'm like, yeah. Man, I didn't know I had to quantify this, but yes, he is. So
Yeah.
Where did you learn to do that?
Just really just starting out by like writing poetry. Probably like around the age of 13, I started to just write poetry, and really I would just like speak. I would like speak it, you know. And then that just kind of, I guess, my environment, you know, being around like a lot of hip hop and kind of being in the urban section. I was just inspired by a lot of the music, Tupac and Bone Thugs and Harmony, and all those classic hip hop artists, you know. And then at the same time, I was getting the inspiration from my mom listening to like the Eagles and, you know, Allman Brothers and things like that. So I was getting it from both sides. I was getting like this straight hip hop and like classic rock at the same time. And it just kind of developed into a passion, you know, to where I started rapping to beats. And I'll tell you one thing, it used to be horrible. And I know like that's how how everybody starts, but just even the content, it wasn't even who I was, you know. I was just rapping things that I wasn't doing, rapping about drugs and guns, and I never even held a gun at that point. And like, you know, I was not selling drugs or anything, like never sold drugs. Like, so it was there was definitely a shifting point in my life at about like 18, to where I kind of 18, between 18 and 20, I kind of turned on to like a whole different realm of like understanding and music and like content. And so that's kind of how it shifted. But I've been rapping since I was probably about 16, and it all came from poetry.
And you go from rapping and doing poetry to a band that a lot of people, if they don't remember right off the top of their head, but when you bring it up, they remember it. And that's when you were Down for the Cause. Wasn't that with you and Chuck Wisco and Darius Pittman?
Yep.
That was a heavy band.
Yeah, we were like, it was like borderline metal. It was definitely like hard rock, borderline metal. Yeah,
you didn't sing
we
at
got
all
pretty
back
heavy.
then.
Huh?
You didn't sing back then.
No, there was like one song like towards the end, like a little bit before we broke up, where I had a song where I did like a couple rap verses, and it was like kind of heavy metal rap. And that was the only time I sang in the band. I didn't. I was just the lead guitar player.
And then from there, we progressed to Earth to Clark.
Yep, from like and that's how I met Darius, was through Down for the Cause. And yeah, so Darius and, you know, we developed like a really strong friendship throughout that. And then we started to Darius was also working on his own mixtape during the time, and he knew that I rapped, and he was just like, "Hey man, do you want to get a verse on the mixtape?" And then that's when him and I created like our first own hip hop song together, where we were just both rapping together. And that progressed into a whole different realm of like that turned into Anti-Gravity, which is our hip hop duo. And we just released our, you know, third project together about a month ago. So something's got to change.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just 4 songs, you know. And yeah, so that developed into, you know, I was growing out of like, I love Down for the Cause. I got it tattooed, you know what I'm saying? I got it tattooed right here. That band lives in my heart forever, you know. But we were it was hard, nothing against any of it. It was just like some of the content we were talking about was not like what I was living in that moment or in that time of my life. Like, I was, turning on to different ways of thoughts and like positivity and spirituality and all this stuff. And we were talking about some sad shit. And I just wasn't on that page anymore. I was starting to write my own music with my acoustic and stuff. And like, I just was like ready to go a whole different route. So I moved across the country looking for like bandmates. I was ready to start this like new funky hip hop band pretty much. And I moved to Colorado. I moved to Minneapolis with, my family. And then eventually I just ended up back home, and that's where it all came back together. And then Eartha Clark happened. So here we are.
Come back home and it's where your roots are, man. It's where your roots are.
Yep. And I had to do that in order to figure that out,
I understand. I went halfway around the world to do that. I went to Berlin, Germany, and lived there 5 years. So, sorry,
this is really funny. If I sit just right, these butterfly wings look like ears. Right here.
Yeah, they do. Now that you bring that up, I've already said that I think The Giving Tree is one of the best albums I've heard. I mean, it's something I do still put on. I still listen to it. I've listened.
Thanks, man.
To thousands of bands, and the song "The Giving Tree" itself, it hits home. And I've talked to many singers and many different bands, and one of the best answers I ever got to this question came from Matt Donovan from Left of Reason.
Okay.
That, I hear a song that they do and I'm like, wow, dude, I really like that lyrics. I really like that song. What are you trying to say in that song? Inevitably, his answer is always the same. What does it mean to you?
Right.
He always says that to me. What does it mean to you? Because if you have an interpretation of that song that I wrote, then I did it right. Because it meant something to you. I think the Giving Tree, the song, does that, I think, differently for every person out there. And I don't know if you intended it to be that way.
No, I didn't intend it that way. Man, it's been so long too since I've even like listened to that song or even honestly played that song. So I can tell you what it was inspired by.
Yes, in the book.
Yeah, so my buddy Kaga, he's from Maryland, and during this time I was traveling across the country from like Maryland to Montana to Missouri and Pennsylvania, and just like traveling around. And I met him, and it was just a inspiring, beautiful musician. Connor and the Wild Hunt, you can look them up. They're like folk, definitely like folk Americana. It's very beautiful. So he wrote this song. We were traveling a little bit together and spending a lot of time together, and he played this song on his banjo, and it was all about this, like, it was about the world just going to shit. So like just disease and famine and like burning buildings and burning, like pretty much like what you would see in like post-apocalypse. There was like not many trees, not much nature. And he wrote this song about this girl who had like an apple seed that she had saved or something like that. And she took it out to like the middle of this field, and she was like looking down at the apple seed, and she was looking around at the world, and she just started to cry. and she was like crying into the apple seed, and the apple seed like fell by her feet, and her tears started to like hit the apple seed, which caused it to grow, and it started to grow roots, which were like, she was turning into this tree, and it just grew like miles and miles high, miles and miles wide, and it was like producing this fruit. And you know, like it in a movie or a show or something, like, you know, the colors start to come back to life, and like people start like running and gathering to this tree, and like the grass is green and the sky is turning blue again and all this stuff, and it was beautiful, and people are crying and dancing and singing, and you know, like restores life. And he that just inspired me and like made me think about the title The Giving Tree. And then after that, I just like, I kind of wrote a song around how that made me feel, how his song made me feel. So yeah, that's the story behind why I wrote that song.
So it has nothing to do with the book. I'm sure by now you've had to read the book, The Giving Tree.
So another funny story is, so I had wrote that song, and I never heard of the book before I wrote that song. I didn't even know that Shel Silverstein, that's correct, right? The author. I didn't know that he wrote that book. And then ironically, I went to a show at the Sea House here in Beloit, the coffee house at the college. And I didn't know who was playing or anything. I just went to go to the show with a couple of friends, and there's a band there called the Giving Tree Band. And like, I had wrote that song like 2 weeks prior to like seeing this band. And then I end up going to Harmony Park, which is a place in Minnesota I'm sure you've heard of a lot because of Chantal and Darius. They host a couple festivals out there, Shangri-La and Project Earth. Big hippie festivals. They're amazing. But
yeah,
they have
it looks amazing.
It really is. It's amazing. They have a central tree that's like located like by the main stage, where people bring all various types of items for trade, pretty much. So like if you lay down, like people will bring guitars and like drums and like clothes, and I mean even just like a spare cigarette or something, you know. But they'll put it by the tree, and then if you have something to offer, like it'll just be sitting there. You can walk by the tree, and then you can like trade your items. So say I could trade, you know, like a business card, even if I felt like that was of equal value, you know, I could put that business card down for a piece of clothing. And they called that tree the Giving Tree. And I didn't know that either. So I thought I had this original idea. Like I wrote this song called the Giving Tree. It was inspired by a buddy's song, but his song wasn't titled The Giving Tree. Where did it say The Giving Tree? That's just how I took it. I was like, oh, that's a tree. So I hadn't heard of any of these things before I wrote that song. I thought I had this like kind of original idea, you know? And then all of a sudden, all these things enter my life that are like the Giving Tree. I'm like, oh, sweet. This is not just my idea. Like this is a thing people think about. You know?
But there is a beauty to that though, that you didn't know all that. That kind of shows,
right.
That shows the inside of you to write something, to think that way. Because I know when I heard it, honestly, my family, my wife, my daughters, we're all readers. We read. It's what we do. I mean, listen to music and read a lot. And the girls, both my daughters, when they were growing up, definitely The Giving Tree was a prominent book that we thought needed for them to be educated in and to read it. And they both will tell you to this day, it is one of their favorite books of all time. And they'll even,
it really is. I mean,
it's not a hard read.
No,
it's a super easy read. I mean, it's meant for a child to read. And
definitely.
But I bet you we have a copy of it, at least one copy of it around here right now, even after the fire, you know. There's multiple copies around our house. And that's where I thought it came from. And like I said, it had me thinking of what people can just be good to each other. You know, a lot of people think I'm rough and I'm gruff, and I will tell people all the time, hey, I'm who I am. You like me, you don't. I don't really give a fuck at the end of the day. But at the same time, I'll say something like that. I also try to live by the rule of don't be a dick. You know,
Right.
I think if most people would try to live by that rule, that one rule in life, don't be a dick.
Right. Be a
How
lot
much better
easier.
the world would be.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And one of the things I really enjoy going to Vibe High, which you guys play and help put on.
Yep.
I haven't made it to Shangri-La or Project Earth, but one of the things I really enjoy about those particular events is there seems to be a calmness and serenity and happiness. There's not anger or angst, or when there is, it's usually because people are calling out for other people to help, you know, help each other, help the world, help the earth.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, man. Yeah, and shout out Beth Kelly, Five High Productions. Yeah, that, and it's that sense of community, you know,
I
that
think
is always been like pretty much on the forefront of like what we're about, you know, is just helping to facilitate like that space, you know, and community, and letting people know like we're in it together, we're here for each other, you know, like what can we do to make it better for each other.
and it's super accepting. I mean,
Yeah.
it's no secret. You've known me actually for quite a long time now. You're way back in the Winterfest days when we got pounded with snow on November
Yep.
1st.
Man, that was 8 years ago. No, probably about 6 or 7 or 5, I don't know.
You were a three-piece at the time. I'm
You
thinking it
were.
was closer to 8 or 9 years ago. White Bear was still
Yeah.
open.
Yep.
And, but everybody knows I'm a rock guy. It's what I like. It's my preference. And I can walk around Vibe High, for example, and not really feel out of place. You know, it's a
Yeah,
lot more accepting of a scene than some of the other scenes around.
definitely.
You know, there's times where I'll be walking around going, "What the fuck is that?" You know, or see
Yeah,
something that happens. I'm sorry, it happens.
it happens to me too, man. It's
You're like, "Oh, okay, that's different."
sometimes sometimes it gets a little weird.
Yeah, but like you said, it was community, and I think that was very important. Now, like when I first saw Earth to Clark, you guys were a three-piece. Now you're a five-piece? Four.
Yes. We're a 4 piece. As of right now, we're a 4 piece. We we are working with another guitarist,
Okay.
who is like he's the homie, and you know, yeah, we're working it out. So we're hoping to become a 5 piece. We're gonna remain definitely like a 4 piece. The core, we have our core of our 4 members, you know, and yeah,
I think
but we've been a 6 piece at one point, you know.
I think one of the big changes or evolutions of Earth to Clark was bringing on Ari. You know,
Yeah,
bringing on another voice. And,
yeah, that was a big shift.
and she has stuff to say, and
Yeah,
a
she
beautiful
does.
voice.
Yeah,
And,
powerhouse.
and you got to live with her. um,
Yeah, buddy.
yeah, that would. For those of you who don't know, Ari is Adam's wife.
Yep.
Gorgeous, gorgeous voice. Very gorgeous
Yeah,
voice.
beautiful.
And what is it? The something Wolfcorn Moon or
Wolf Cry. Yep.
Wolf Cry.
Yep.
How was that when you brought her on and she went from the beginning of just kind of singing like a little backup here or there to now it's you have to share that mic quite a bit with her. And is that a good thing, bad thing? Or was it something you had
Yeah.
to get used to having to give up some of that mic?
I think like at some points, I guess I really didn't have to get used to it. It was more of along the lines of like, where do we each fit that is going to make the most sense and make the music the best that it can be, you know? It Bringing her on was definitely one of the best things that we've done, you know. She's amazing. Like you said, she has a lot to say, a lot of wisdom, and it's been beautiful to be able to like write music with my wife, you know, and knowing that we want to say similar things. We're on the same path. We have like the same morals, a lot of the same morals. So it made it more of like it made our relationship stronger in a sense, you know, of coming together and working on this stuff together. Not just me writing the songs, which is what it was before she joined the band, you know. Now we're coming together, and I always think like, you know, the more the merrier. If you got two minds working on something, it's going to end up better than just one, you know.
I'm glad you said that, because another thing that I've noticed through conversations I've had with you, just showing up to one of my shows, which you've done, I'm like, oh wow, you're here. You're like, well, I got the invite, I was off, why not? And
Yeah, come
or
show the support when I can.
or when I see you at a show, at the house, at kids' birthday parties, whatever. I mean, like I said, you're Darius and yourself and my daughter and Ari are tight. You know, you guys
Yep,
share all
bro.
those family holidays together. Uh,
Yep.
you are a person who likes to share. You are a person that likes to have other people involved. The other thing you like to do is
Definitely.
observe. You know, I think
Yeah.
you're a very quiet person, but not shy. It seems like you're always observing.
Yeah. Uh, Definitely like to take everything in and watch what goes on, and yeah, definitely observe and learn. But also sometimes I can't shut up, you
I've
know.
been there
So
for that too. And that's
yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that, because those don't happen often, you know what I'm saying? They
yeah,
don't happen often. And but I've always I've always noticed that about you. Okay, this is one of those people that he thinks really deep and he takes in the human element. And then I hear his music and I'm like, okay, this all makes sense to me. What's going on? Now, he's
yeah,
taking
man.
it and he's looking at it all. And
Yep.
he's seeing the right and he's seeing the wrong and that. So you have a new CDs. Is it released yet or it's real soon?
Nope. New CD. This is the cover back here by the amazing Matt Nemitz, Focal Fuse. Shout out. Like he's been pinnacle. He's been a humongous part of this whole entire project. With all of the graphics, all of the videos, helped us, all of our merch design, literally everything that you see visually that comes from us is made by Matt Nemitz. So big shout out to that guy. Um,
He's very
but
good, by the way.
he's so good. He's so good.
I've seen his work.
I can't show enough love, you know, for everything that he's done for us. And he's just
New one.
amazing. I mean, that's amazing. You know?
And the new one's called Growing Pains.
Yep. So it's called Growing Pains. It's 5 tracks. Um, and the whole theme is like growth and transformation. A, a few of these, I mean, most of the songs on here we've been playing for 2 years, if not more. So like I keep saying like new music, but like honestly, a lot of these songs have been heard. We've played them on stages, hundreds of times. It's just we haven't recorded them, and quarantine and pandemic and everything kind of gave us that opportunity to really buckle down and get it out there. Um, but through the whole time of like these songs, um, we've been through like a lot of different ups and downs, like as individuals and as a band. We've grown, we've been through hardships and loss of family members and sickness, and like um there's been a lot of struggle within the last couple of years, as our core of a band and individuals. But also, I mean, like just like in life, highs and lows. We've been through it all. We kind of just wanted to like compile this like time and put it in this little capsule and theme it as like transformation and growth, because we've been through so much and we're still here, and like we know that it's like makes us stronger, and we're growing our wings, like
Well, you went
so
from, it makes sense. I mean, you went from very young,
yep.
you started in music early in life. And have you hit your 30s yet?
Yeah, I'm 32.
He doesn't look like it, guys, when you see them. But I met you with,
Yeah.
dreadlocks or locks or whatever the correct word is. I don't want to offend anybody, but locks.
Nope.
And
Yep.
and to short hair and everything in between.
Yeah,
And
a
you
lot of
didn't have a
changes.
family. Now you have a wife, you have a family, you have beautiful children,
Yep.
and
Yep.
your band has grown with you. Um,
Yeah,
so it made
man.
sense. And as far as going back and taking old stuff, the general consensus of 2020 for live music is it just sucked ass. It just fucking sucked.
Seriously, dude.
But
It's depressing.
well, yes and no. It's very depressing. But on the other side of it, I think the strong survived. I know that's kind of,
Yeah.
being kind of Darwinism of it, but the strong survived and they will continue to survive. I know in my personal case, working with Left of Reason, we've got probably 4 or 5 songs we've written, but the one that we're performing at the moment was actually written 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It's in the can, never been recorded.
Nice. Yeah, it's crazy how that works, man.
And you pull it out and you're like, do you remember this thing? And now they've changed it a little bit, but yeah. I mean, so I don't think it was
Yep.
necessarily horrible. I mean, did we all miss out on a lot of money? Yes, we did. Did we miss being out with our fans? Yes, we did. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys probably used to playing 40, 50, 60 shows a year. I mean, you guys played quite a bit, and
Yeah. Yeah, we play a lot.
we played like between 100 to 150 a year. Last year we got 4. I mean,
Yeah.
and
Crazy. And that's when you're like used to doing that. Like we've been together for about like 6 years now, and we've probably played about like 400 to 500 shows in those 6 years. And that's between like making all the sacrifices that it takes to make that happen. Um, and that being your lifestyle, to like, oh shit, like I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything. So and like you were saying, it has been a blessing in a lot of different ways too, because like that sacrifice away from our family a lot of the times, like if we're not bringing the kids with us to like festivals and stuff like that, like, and we're just playing like bar venues or things like that, like we can't bring the kids. So we make a lot of
You have a brand new
sacrifices, you
baby.
know? Yeah, she's a well, brand new. She'll be a year next month already.
COVID baby.
COVID baby. Yep.
You know, I think it's interesting you brought up the sacrifices that band members make to be in this
Man,
industry. I
it's
mean,
crazy.
we can talk about all the money we spend on equipment, recording, money we spend on recording, money we spend on vehicles to travel in, trailers, gas, you know, and many times showing up and, you know, like here's 2 drink tickets.
Right.
But you
Yeah.
get exposure. You
Yep.
know, I've still yet to be able to get any grocery store to give me groceries for exposure, but
Yeah. Seriously. Yeah, and then
uh,
the time away from our families, you know.
it's big.
Um,
I mean, to the
it's
point where
huge.
I'm actually considering having a show of spouses of band members
That'd be cool.
because, like I said, for us who go out on the road and we talk, you know, luckily, you know, you guys and myself now, we live in an age where we can FaceTime our family on the road, you know, and speak to them,
Yeah.
see them, and possibly, you know, put up a song or two on Facebook Live so they can see, oh, there's daddy, you know. Or,
Yep.
back in my day, you know, I'd leave for 6 weeks and get to call the girlfriend, I don't know, once every 3 or 4 days and talk for 5-10 minutes because it was expensive.
Right. Or you got a calling card or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's no joke.
Yep.
And but our families give up a lot when they when they decide that, okay, I'm going to be with a musician.
Yep. Yep. It's true, man. It's true.
Well, in the beginning, they want to be at every show.
Yeah.
They want to be at every show. And we
Yeah.
always joke around like, yeah, that'll go away. Don't worry.
Yeah.
They'll just show up to the local ones and yeah, see you later. Have a good time. And you know, I'm not even in a band, but I go out on the road with the band all the time, and I always get, well, okay, what kind of story do you got today? Because the road is filled with stories,
Yeah. The people you meet, the places you go.
things you see.
Yeah. The things you see. Yep.
And that leads me back to the band. For a band that has traveled, and I know you guys have traveled all over the country, you have to get along with your bandmates. Being
Yeah.
stuck in a van for a couple of weeks with people you don't like can be miserable.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. That's been there, done that.
And I don't think a lot of people also realize how far we travel sometimes. You know, a great example is 2 weeks ago, we traveled 3 hours there, 3 hours back for a 35-minute set.
Yeah. That's crazy.
But it happens.
It does
And
happen.
and there's nothing you can do to stop it. I mean, what are you gonna
Yeah.
do? Get there and say, nope, just turn around and go back?
Yeah. Especially at the level that we're at, you know, there's those certain things that happen, those kind of opportunities that there's not like a guarantee or a contract or, you know, it's things like that.
Yeah. And you guys seem to be doing well with that. I mean, family wise, for whatever reason, once again, I keep bringing up my daughter. She seems to be friends with like all of your guys' girlfriends or wives.
Yep.
You know, and
It's a tribe, man.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And half the time the tribe's at my house,
Yep.
which is
Yep.
fine, which is fine with me. I mean, honestly, as much crap as I give those girls, uh, they're very good girls, and
Yeah.
they're very good ladies, and I'm grateful that they're friends with my daughters. So,
Awesome,
but
man. Yeah. I'm all the ladies of the tribe are amazing, nothing but supportive, and I have a lot of gratitude for them all being here and putting up with all of our shit.
yeah, that, yeah,
Yeah.
yes. I mean, I'm gonna say that probably one more time. Yes, I said. There you go. I don't realize that they see us at a show once again, and they don't realize you left 3 days ago. And in many cases, I mean, it could be reversed. I mean, it could be a female leaving her husband, but normally it's in the rock world, it's you're leaving your wife, your girlfriend at home to hold that fort down. And I've argued many times when I talk to different bands where a girl has a problem, half the time I'm like, well, you do realize you got involved with a musician, right? you know, that kind of comes
That-
with the territory.
yeah. And that's what's beautiful about being in a band with my wife is we get to do it together,
And that works well for you. I know
Yeah,
Debbie
it
and my
doesn't.
wife and I worked together for a while, like side by side.
Mhm.
And people who know my wife and I know we get along very well.
Mhm.
And I love it and I adore her. I really do. I don't want to work with her ever again.
Yeah.
I just
Well,
don't.
it definitely doesn't go without its challenges. I will tell you that. Um and like anything, it takes commitment and work from both sides, and being in a band isn't always easy. It's like being in a relationship with a group of people. You're constantly having to compromise and make decisions together, and communicate like feelings and all that stuff. So it's like it's not always easy. And then if you're in a relationship where you're a roommate, and you're also in a marriage, and you're also in a working active band together, like there's different aspects of the relationship that cross over into other parts of the relationship. So it's that sometimes it interferes, like if we're
Try to
yeah,
compartmentalize them the best you can.
definitely, and keep certain things separate, when it comes to like band. If it comes to like band stuff or decisions as the band, try not to bring that into our relationship as a husband and wife, or let things in the way of our relationship if there's a discrepancy with the band or something like that. So I mean, it doesn't go without its challenges, but like I said before, it's always been in the grand scheme of things, look with the perspective of just looking at it as like this is only strengthening our connection and our bond, and um we're doing this together, and we're obviously meant to be doing it together, otherwise we wouldn't be here doing it. So we try to
Or
make it work.
it can wreck a band, or it can wreck a marriage, or it can wreck both.
It
Um,
definitely could.
it's not an easy gig. It and
No.
I don't want to keep pounding on this subject here, but people need to realize that bands, especially at the level we're talking right now, bands who travel regionally a lot,
Hmm.
they're doing it for the love of music. Because if you don't
Yeah,
have
man.
that, get out. There's
Yep.
because you're not getting rich right now.
Nope. If it
getting
was
rich.
about the money, we've been giving up a long time ago.
So you also worked on a documentary that
Yeah.
I believe you said it's out the other day on social media, and I
Yep.
have not had a chance to watch it. I'm very interested to see it. And once again, I'm
Yeah, man.
guessing Matt Nemitz was part of that deal.
Matt Nemitz did have a small part to do with it, which helped out a lot in the documentary as a whole. So yeah, definitely when you get the chance, man, please watch it. Let me know what you think for sure.
Where can people find that?
But you can find it on YouTube. Yep, and just look up our Facebook, and it's right on our Facebook page. Otherwise, just search Eartha Clark on our YouTube, and you can find it there. But yeah, so that was part of it was Ari's friend Isaac and his fiance. She was a student at UW Whitewater, and she was in film school, in film class, and this was a project that she did for her final project before she graduated. So she came to us and she just asked, her and Isaac asked if we'd be interested in doing her school project and her doing a documentary about the band. And we were like, hell yeah, this is a great opportunity, and we would love to be able to help you for your project. This helps us because it's another way to tell our story and get our word out there. So they came over about like 4 or 5 different times over the course of a month, and they did an amazing job. Isaac Evanson and Danielle Smith, we love you guys. Thank you again for doing all of that for us. So yeah, Isaac came over, he did all the narration, he asked all the questions, like the interview questions and stuff like that. And then Danny did all the filming and the like lighting, and then she did all the editing. And then they had a vote in her class, and she got voted the best film for this project. So it's 10 minutes long, and it just pretty much tells like our whole story from the start to like where we are right now and what we're about. And so we've been working with Nemitz for the whole time we've been a band. So he has like over like 15 hours of footage of us, and he's just got like countless graphics and photos and just like content forever of Eartha Clark. So he just put it all on a hard drive and gave it to them, and they had access to the stockpile of footage to add to the documentary. So there's cut scenes and stuff where it shows us playing at live shows and different photos and things like that. And a lot of that was from Matt Nemitz.
And your social media, it's Earth to Clark, and that's not the letter to. That's the word to, not the letter.
The word to,
number.
yep, Earth to Clark.
Yep. And that's on YouTube, Facebook. What other social media on?
Yep, YouTube, Facebook, Bandcamp, Instagram. Also, I haven't announced it yet, but we just launched our website, so you can go to earththeclark.com, and it's a brand new website. And we're gonna have a bunch of new merch on there, and all of our new music videos, documentaries on there too. Yeah, but Spotify,
you're on there.
Apple Music, pretty much everything but Twitter. Twitter sucks.
I'm not smart enough to work Twitter. I don't know how to tweet.
Hell yeah. I don't either.
I have to ask this question. My wife and I,
yeah,
I've said this ever since I've known you guys. the name Earth to
You want
Clark.
the real story?
I do, because when you're done, I'm going to tell you where we got it from.
Where, like what you think it's from?
Sure, we'll go that way. Okay, I want to hear your story.
Okay, my story. Well, before I tell you the real story, I want to tell you that we used to lie about our name, like to
Okay.
everybody.
All right, folks, I'm getting a scoop. They lied for years. Here's the real scoop.
So, like when people would ask, we would just like on the fly, we just make up like a rumor or like a story about what the name is, and it would just be something that would probably clearly be a lie, you know, like something extravagant. Um, but then we just decided to start telling the truth. So the
Truth
real
doesn't hurt, Adam.
story
It doesn't hurt.
Yeah, we just thought it was fun, you know.
Sure.
Yeah. But so my oldest son, who is 11 now, he was probably about 3 or 4 around the time that I was like starting the band, and he came up with this pretend band name called Out of Earth, and that was just his, you know, that was his pretend band that he had at home. And I was like, that's a badass name. I was like, I really like that name, but like I felt bad if I stole his band name, you know. So so I
I
was like,
bet you
all
he
right, I'm not
wouldn't
gonna
care when he
steal.
was growing up, but go
No,
ahead.
he probably wouldn't have cared. But um yeah, so I took one word from his band name. So his band name was Out of Earth. So I just took the word Earth, and I used to work at Papa John's at the time. And we were just coming up. When I worked there, it was like a group of friends that worked all together. So you know, I'm in there working, we're making pizzas, and I'm like, man, I really need to come up with this band name. And like all my coworkers are like kind of helping me brainstorm. And I was like, I want to use the word earth, but I don't know what, like maybe like barefoot earth or like earth monkey or like just coming up with all these words with earth. And then out of nowhere, one of my coworkers, he's way in the back, didn't even know he was like part of the conversation or even listening. He's like stirring pizza sauce, and his name's Clark. And he was like, Earth to Clark. And the light bulb just went off, and it was like, that's it, dude. That's it. Cause he was kind of an eccentric character, and he, you know, it just a little bit out there and funny. And yeah, still delivers our pizza sometimes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So Earth to Clark is named after Papa John's delivery driver. This is on the record.
On the record, I have it here first,
Yep.
folks. Okay. Earth to Clark has appeared 2 times in movies that we know of. The original,
Oh yeah.
not the original Superman, but the Superman from like the 70s, the Christopher Reeves one.
Yep.
You know, where Lois Lane is like, Clark, Earth to Clark.
Earth to Clark. Yep.
So
Yep.
we thought of that one. And doesn't it appear in the original National Lampoon's Vacation?
Yep.
Where his
Yep.
wife's talking
It
to
does.
him? Earth to Clark.
Yep.
You know.
And,
So
and then it appears in.
So I've been wrong all day
new...
long on, you know, the Giving Tree, Earth to Clark.
Yep, you've been wrong.
I'll be wrong with that. That's okay. I'll be wrong with that.
And that's another thing. I never knew that. I never knew those were. I never knew that was in National Lampoons. I never knew that was in the Superman movie. And that's just what happened. You know, that's how it came up. And
yeah, I mean,
rang a bell. And now I'll look it up. If I Google Earth to Clark, I never even thought of that. But that's what most people think the reference is to, is Superman.
Yeah, because when we did Winterfest, God, how many years ago was that? It was a lot of years.
Yeah,
I
five or
still
six,
work.
I think.
I was still working with Rockstar. I wasn't even with Left to Reason at the time. And I've been with
Yep.
Left to Reason almost 5 years now, so I
Yep.
think it has to be at least 7.
Well,
Anyways,
we've been a band for like 6 years, I think, 6 or 7.
well,
I don't
most
know.
of us are getting confused because we didn't do shit in 2020.
Right.
You know,
We lost the whole year.
yeah. And I remember the wife because, God, what were their names? The people that owned the Quillums, they owned Earth to Clark, not Earth to Clark, the White Bear, Justin
Oh,
and
Justin and Trish.
Trish.
Yep.
Yeah, we went down there because their food was fantastic,
Oh
and
my God.
I used to book shows down there, and they really pushed you guys. They're the ones who actually turned me on to you guys. And
Hell yeah. But love those
Justin
guys.
was like, "Yeah, we'll run this Winterfest for you. You know, you can have it here." And he did a lot to make that show go off. They really did,
They
and
really did.
they yeah, they did more than you'll ever know what they did. They did a ton.
Yeah. They're awesome.
Yeah, big shout out to those guys. But yeah,
Yep.
Trish and Justin. And the only thing Justin asked for is that I put you guys on the show. And I
Nice.
was like, all right. I mean, sure, I'm running 2 stages and trying to do 11, 12, 13 bands, whatever it was. And that snowstorm still kills me today, because we wouldn't have that snowstorm. I think that thing would have been huge.
Definitely.
But that's when I first got on there. But my wife's looking at all the names and everything, and she's like, "Really, Earth to Clark?" I'm like, "Hey, I didn't name the band. Wasn't even thinking twice about it." And she goes, "That's from National Lampoons." And one of our friends over is like, "No, it's from Superman." And I'm going, "You're both right."
Yep.
And I don't think you guys are old enough to know when those movies were released.
Nope.
So, yeah, I had to ask. And thank you for telling me that you've been lying to your fans for years. And coming clean and telling everybody where it came from. And Clark, I'm sure you're doing a great job delivering pizza.
Yep.
Do you have anything
He's
else
awesome.
that you guys are pushing right now?
Yeah. So we in 4 days, first day of spring, March 20th, we are releasing our first music video, which is the first single off the EP. The song is titled Growing Wings. And like the music video is amazing. It's very personal. It means a lot to us. And matches the whole theme of what we're doing here. So I'm pushing that really hard right now. And just trying to get it out there and get it heard by as many people as possible. So that's March 20th. We release that, and that'll be on all platforms. You can stream it anywhere. And then April 16th is the release of the EP. And then April 17th, which another thing I haven't announced yet, but I'm announcing it right now, is April 17th. We are going to be doing a full live stream concert at the Castle in Beloit, which is a performing arts center located kind of downtown area. So we're doing a full live professional live stream setup. We're going to have our friend Spare Change Trio from Milwaukee come down and play with us. And as of right now, we're figuring out the logistics, but we want to be able to like limit it. The room is really big. It's like a 250 people capacity. So we want to follow all the guidelines and make sure that we're responsible before we make any type of announcements about people being able to attend it live. But hopefully we can get like 50 people in there. and socially distance and responsible. So we're figuring that out right now, and it'll be released soon, but that's April 17th will be our live stream album release party.
That sounds like you're starting to move in the right direction and getting stuff going. It's
Yep.
beginning to look like live music is going to come back this year.
Yep.
I
It
think,
looks like it. I really hope
think,
so.
I think people at our level are going to feel it first. I think the smaller venues are going to open up for our level first before, say, Pfizer or the BMO Harris or wherever before they do it.
Yeah, I agree.
The band I work with the last 2 weekends, we've been down once down in Chicago, and then the weekend before even further down. And, we've already been playing in venues. And people are trying to do it responsible, I think, in general.
Okay.
I mean, I think people are starved for live music. I think people are starved for live music, and they're ready for us. And Lord knows the bands are ready.
Yep.
They're itching just to get on a stage.
Man, it's a big part of like our lives, not just musicians, but as people that go and attend concerts. Like, it's a big part of our mental health and our lifestyles. So yeah, man, I'm sure we're all ready to get back to it. And I think it's gonna happen. I just hope that we can do it responsibly as of right now.
With the vaccines and everything,
Yep.
and I'm not going to get into a debate if you're for or against vaccines. I'm just not going to play the game with anybody.
Yeah.
But I think what it does is, if the people have the opportunity to have it and it's out there, now it's freed up things to, one more thing not to open is gone.
Yep.
The joke with me is here in Wisconsin, I tell people I've been training for 10 years for this is, underlying condition. Oh, well, I'm fat. So obesity is an underlying condition. Oh, is it? And CDC guidelines are ridiculous. I'm never gonna weigh as much as you want me to ever. But
Yeah.
I think with the vaccine rollouts and everything, it's gonna relax stuff. Do I think everything's gonna be? Do I think it's all gonna be the same again? Probably not this year, but I think it's gonna be way better than last year.
Definitely.
Way better than last year.
We'll at least be able to do something with people,
Right.
Hopefully.
I know when we did Rock to Stop 22 last year, one of my favorite memories of that whole show was watching the Almas walk up a hill from where they were camping at towards the stage, and the drummer from Left of Reason walking across another way, and he's yelling, "Hi friends, how you doing? Haven't seen you guys forever," and it's like, that's another thing I don't think people realize is when you're in this industry, you really do get to know other music people, and you develop a lot of relationships with them. And in 2020, when they took that away from us, when that was taken away, I think it was only then you realized those different relationships you developed with different bands, different venues, different sound people, not just fans, those conversations you have backstage or in your buses or vans or in the parking lot or wherever. And yeah, I'm excited to get back to that. And of course, the music's
definitely. And developing relationships over time, the networking, the people, everybody that's involved, Yeah.
So other than that, I think we've covered quite a bit. Is there anything you want to put out to anybody, to anybody out there about, you've already brought up, make sure you're checking out their documentary. Go to YouTube, go to Facebook, Earth to Clark. Is it Earth to Clark the band or just Earth to Clark?
Just Earth to Clark. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. And you can Google search Earth to Clark.
If you're over there on YouTube, make sure that you hit the subscribe button to their channel. While you're there, go over to Rock Talk with a Silver
Please do.
Fox and hit my subscribe too. Other than that, I think we've covered everything, Adam, and thank you very much for being on here.
Yeah, man.
And
thank you.
And seriously, thank you for that album, The Giving Tree. I mean, thank you guys. I mean that. So
yeah, man. I really appreciate you listening to it, and I'm glad that it has touched you in the way that it has, man. That's my mission is complete. If one person, feels the way that you feel, then like, yeah, I've done what I'm supposed to be doing. So I really appreciate it, man. That's fulfilling.
You've done it well.
Thank you.
So with that note there,
I hope you enjoy the new music just as much.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye to Adam, and I'm going to tell everybody else next episode, I'll be talking to the band Solar. Other than that, everybody take care, be safe, and rock on.